Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode. The best cricket tournament in the history of cricket is currently going on. It's the SA20. Liam Livingstone has just got whacked for 15 runs in the same over. We don't care about the BGT. We've lost it, but we do not care about the BGT whatsoever. Uh, it's not good for your mental health. Everybody, pack your bags, throw Test cricket away, come sit down, open your Hotstar, and watch the South African T20 League. Support Daddy Duplessis in JSK. Support Liam Livingstone in Pretoria. DK Popa is playing for Carl Royals. Unfortunately, Jacob Bethel is not. We are completely going to discuss only the SA20 in today's episode. We do not give two fucks about Test cricket anymore. Please, our mental health is ruined.
Yeah, let's new year, new me, so it's proper time to begin with the best league, best format of cricket, T20 cricket.
Absolutely.
SA20 started with a bang yesterday. MI Cape Town
No,
completely
their
demolished the
bowling
two
is
ten
not good.
man.
Their bowling is scary, and they did it without Rabada. Once Rabada comes back, it'll look even scarier. Once
Yeah.
these Pakistan Test squad guys come back, I think they'll get Rickleton and Rabada added to their side, so that'll be freaking insane. Tushara is also yet to join the team, is what I heard. So scary, scary team.
Yeah, yeah. No, MI shouldn't be using Tushara much. Use him here and there so that he'll be ready for IPL. Don't
Yeah,
drain him.
give him 2 games. April, May, he just has to come fit and fine. That's all. All
Mm,
right. We want to address the elephant in the room because I'm really not ready for this.
yeah. The last
Uh,
time we were live was last year.
yeah,
Rohit Sharma was still the captain.
Rohit Sharma was still the captain. Ashwin had just retired. We had hopes of, trying to win in Sydney and Melbourne because apparently those two were our best chances of winning. So when we looked at the schedule early on, when we saw how they put Perth, Brisbane, and Adelaide in the beginning, we thought, okay, Australia is gearing up for a 3-1 or a 3-2 win from the way it was scheduled in the beginning because they have better chances of winning there. Once we went out of Perth, Adelaide, and Brisbane 1-all, it was almost certain that we would either finish the series 2-2 or hopefully 3-1 because our chances at Sydney and MCG are pretty great. Why? Because the pitches turn there. But oh my God, I don't even want to talk about those two. No, Lord.
But we did finish 3-1.
Yeah, that's the issue. It's just that we got Uno reversed.
The good thing is our prediction is right.
Our prediction is right. 3-1 Australia was what we said in the beginning. At the end of the day, it's correct.
Absolute cinema.
But this is not how I expected it to go. Because, like, during our last live, we looked at the preview for the MCG test. We knew that Sam Constance had been added to the side. As I said, he's a brilliant player. He's a very attacking player, and he's very different from the kind of dimension that Nathan McSweeney, Khawaja, and Manas Abhishek bring to the team. So
Mhm.
bringing Sam Constance in the top order was bound to have some kind of an influence on what would have happened to the batting. At the end of the day, he didn't really do much. Aside from the first innings at MCG, there was nothing else that he really contributed with the bat. But the impact that he had mentally on the Indian bowlers was there to see for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely spot on over there. So he was brought in just for the vibes, just to lift the
Just vibes,
spirits
man. This,
up
this, this
in
is
the
all he did the entire this one
yeah,
for the entire game. Yeah, that's all.
yeah, just to lift the spirits of the Aussie team, which was
Yeah,
kinda dead at Gabba.
yeah, it worked.
It worked.
Yeah,
He was brought in to have words with the crowds, with
yeah.
Virat Kohli, with his idol.
Correct. So look, we knew that Sam Constance coming in would be a very exciting player.
I think this a bit the network just dropped off from Sachit's end.
Sorry, did I get disconnected there?
Yeah,
Sorry, yeah. No,
yeah,
you have like Bumrah running in with the new ball. You have no clue how Kansas is going to be able to play something like that. He's 19 years old. He's inexperienced. He's never played an international game before. And this dude, after struggling for the first six balls, decides, you know what? I am Sam Constance. I am going to scoop Bumrah over fine leg and third man. Not once, not twice, but thrice. He's lapping, he's reverse lapping. It was insane. And you think to yourself, bro, is this guy really 19?
yeah.
Uh, just miss.
The audacity to hit Bumrah after
Exactly.
3 years for a six.
So after what?
Bumrah was hit for a six after 3 years, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, I think to be precise, he was hit for a six after close to 4,000 odd balls.
Yeah,
He had
that's
bowled 4,000 deliveries in international cricket before he was hit for a six, which is insane by itself. And to think that Sam Constance would be the one to do it was actually crazy. And
yeah,
he hit him for not one but two sixes in the same over, right?
yeah. Once
That's
was
great.
nice. I had to do it twice, kind of situation. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you all watching SA20? Yes, we were watching until now because now we have live duties.
Yeah. But yeah, that was Sam Constance. He was crazy. Like he had two failed scoop shots. He tried playing it, and you're wondering what the hell is going on. It goes straight to the keeper, and you can see Kohli laughing in the frame. You can see all the fielders at slip wondering what this guy is on, what drugs this guy is done. Nobody knows what's going on, and suddenly he's nailing those scoop shots out of
Yeah.
nowhere, which is crazy.
Insane. I think kids these days are not scared of fast bowlers.
I'll tell you who's scared of fast bowlers. I'll tell you who was specifically scared of Jasprit Bumrah. It was Usman Khawaja, who was playing only on the non-strikers and the entire time Bumrah was bowling. I think he played around 3 to 4 deliveries of Bumrah in the first like 4 overs that Bumrah bowled. Yeah, so that was little something from Khawaja. It was pretty surprising to see that he was pushing out from playing Bumrah.
Yeah, probably he was singing his own song, Khwaja Mere Khwaja.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
let's talk about that situation of Bumrah giving death stare to Sam Constas.
yeah, that
What
was.
were your thoughts? I think you were watching it live. I missed the live action. You are a better person to explain this situation. Yeah.
Look, I think it's better to get to that topic once we get to the Sydney test. We'll just run through the MCG test in a quick summary before we get to the depth of things. Because before Bumrah giving Constance a death stare, Kohli gave Constance a little shoulder. And
Head and
that
shoulders.
I
Yeah.
wanted to do. So, I don't know if you guys have seen this old interview of Kohli where he's like, I don't fight. This very young Kohli in an interview, this good looking interviewer asks him, "You do you fight on the ground?" He's like, "I don't fight. No, sorry, I don't fight." Cut to 36-year-old Kohli shouldering Constant. Oh yeah, Constance was getting under the skin of Jaswant. That was there too.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was just there to really test the patience of the Indian cricketers. And look,
And
Kohli
Indian
shouldering
fast.
was not something that I was in favor of because usually everything that Kohli has done in the past has been largely verbal. It's usually been verbal abuse, lots of sledging has been there, and I'm all for it. Physical contact is something that needs to be looked at in two ways about cricket. So initially, when he bumped into Constance, I'm like, okay, this is not really good for the health of the sport. But after Constance started getting that fucking annoying throughout the rest of the series, I'm like, bro, he deserved it. Should have kneed him in his balls itself.
It's like series. The series is on now. The series
Yeah.
is probably on now, but we got backed.
Yeah. And the next day, literally the next day, you have the Australian media ramming into everything that Kohli has done, ramming into Rohit Sharma. There's just so much backlash from the Australian media. It's all getting into their heads. And from some angle, it looks like there is a mental effect on the players that is very similar to how it used to be during Ponting's era, right? It's not just the team; it is also the media, it's the experts, it's the crowd. Everyone is just going in, and that's the effect it had on the Indian team this time.
That's the good part and the most exciting part of playing in Australia. The
Exactly.
media, the crowd, the buzz, everything around is top notch, total vibes. Sporting in Australia without controversies and media's involvement is like going to a movie and sleeping.
Exactly. So it's got more to do. It's got less to do with your actual skill set because anyone who comes to Australia has the skills. Do you have the mental strength to withstand everything that they throw at you, aside from just what happens on the pitch? That is what defines whether a team wins in Australia or not. That's why it's so difficult to win in Australia. And under Pat Cummins, they just look like a new side again. So, respect to Cummins. He's been destroying us ever since that World Test Championship happened.
Massive, massive respect to Pat Cummins.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's not forget having to watch this early in the morning with your family and Geo Cinema throwing condom ads at you out of nowhere.
In case you missed it, so the fans in at MCG during Boxing Day blew a
Vibes.
condom and flew it away to the ground.
No, proper vibes, proper vibes.
Proper
That's
way.
look again when you come to the batting. Jaiswal did have a good first innings at the MCG.
Hmm.
It looked like he was the only good player until Nitish Reddy finally turned up later. Kohli's 36 was good. He was leaving deliveries outside off. He was doing a good job until there was a lapse in concentration after the whole run out happened. So I need to ask you, whose fault do you think it was? Jaiswal's run out.
Probably Jaiswal's fault.
So like there's two ways to look at it, right? It's gone straight to mid off, sorry. No, wait, just was left-handed. Sorry, it went straight to mid on. The fielders
Mhm.
picked it up. Kohli is ball watching. He could have gone for the run. It is Jaiswal's call at the end of the day. But there is no way that Jaiswal would have made it. It was a very 50-50 chance in my opinion. And
Yeah,
so there are a lot of mixed opinions on this. At the end of the day, you don't know if Jaiswal could have made it. The fielder could have taken a shy at the stumps. It could have hit the stumps. It could not have hit the stumps. You never know. But at the end of the day, it was Jaiswal's call, and he shouldn't have been. Kohli shouldn't have been ball watching.
see, either ways, there was a run out around the corner. Uh, if it, let's keep the call aside, but there was never a run in the first place. Uh,
Yeah,
there was never a run in the first place, so I think it's Jaiswal's fault. So anything that goes behind the non-striker is a striker's fault.
correct. So Jaiswal hit it to mid on, which leaves
It's
Kohli
his call.
standing at the striker's end, ball watching. So yeah, it's a very on the fence call, but I have to say that Jaiswal has been the best performer with the bat. And given that it's Christmas, Jasudi Balle Balle is the perfect song to sing. The Sudhi Balle Balle. But yeah, Nitish Reddy also did really well. Washington Sundar did really well in the first innings at MCG. We saw the Pushpa celebration from Reddy. We saw his family get very emotional. Washington Sundar with the bat has actually been really good this series. Mad respect. Uh,
Mm.
it's nice that we're finally pronouncing his name correctly.
Nah, I'm still not convinced.
No, of course. Look, at the end of the day, Washington Sundar was picked as a bowler. Okay, what he does with the bat is secondary. I'd say if you'd pick Gill also, maybe it could have worked at MCG because it was a little bit better to bat on. But at the end of the day, Washington Sundar should have done more with the ball rather than with the bat. And the fact that he didn't get any overs to bowl is a whole other topic in itself.
Yeah. Uh, the fact what convinced me with Washington Sundar is he batted better than Shubman Gill.
Correct. And I can see the vision behind dropping Gill and picking Washi because of that whole factor. But at the end of the day, you really need to consider how you're utilizing your bowlers. Now you have six bowling options, right? You have who played at MCG? Akashdeep or Prasidh Krishna? It was Prasidh, right?
Akashdeep played. Prasidh
Akash.
played only the last test in Sydney.
Yeah, correct. So you have Siraj, Bumrah, Akashdeep bowling the bulk of your overs. There's always going to be a little bit of okay, wait, hold on.
Hold on.
Let's check the comment section. Liam Livingston has got assassin for a duck. SA20 is the best T20 league in the world. This
Yeah,
is
Livingston
Liam
currently best leg spinner in the world, better than Shane Warne.
better than
Let's
Shane
go.
Warne. He bowls both leg spin and off spin. He's better than Shane Warne and Ashwin. Both of them are retired. Guess who hasn't retired? Livingston hasn't retired. Isn't
I have
fair.
never seen Shane Warne play for RCB, but I'll be watching Liam Livingston play for RCB.
Karan Sharma ain't got shit on us.
Yeah,
Hmm. Okay, back to the topic.
back to
Uh,
Australia.
Yeah, I think okay. Before we also talk about how our bowling was structured, we need to look at how the Australian batting played out. Right, for the
Mm.
first time in four tests, the Aussie batting looked like it actually had some muscle power in it because you
Yeah,
have Stan Constance getting 60. Kawaja got 57 by not playing Bumrah at all because Constance did all the work for him. Marnus Labuschagne out of nowhere got 72. I've never seen that man bat well in the entirety of the series except for this one game. And then Smith goes up with 140, and you're thinking, oh my God, we're in trouble because Travis Head was yet to come at that point. But at the end of the day, Travis Head got a duck. Mitchell Marsh was a walking wicket. And suddenly you're thinking, okay, we're looking good for a 300 all out kind of a situation. And then Alex Carey stitches a decent partnership with Pat Cummins. And Cummins out of nowhere scores a 49. Stark plays 35 balls and scores a 15. Lion wags his tail. He scores 13. Boland, defends for 36 balls to allow Lion to score that 13. So it was a collective batting effort with no contribution from Travis Head. So all 10 players contributed. I'm saying 10 because Mitchell match is not counted. Once he came back to the Big Bash League, guess what he did? He got out for a duck there also.
he got out for a flying duck in Perth. Uh, but yeah, Pat Cummins with the bat needs to be addressed. Whenever
Correct.
Australia is in trouble or whenever they need something big, you can always bet on this man.
No,
Seven
and
catches
Pat
for
Cummins, in my
57.
opinion, I think if I'm not wrong, he had more runs than Kohli and Rohit this series, right?
Yeah. I
But
think a
yeah,
lot of Australian bowlers had more runs than Kohli and Rohit in this series, but the fact that Pat Cummins has more runs and almost the same number of wickets as Kohli
exactly.
and Bumrah in last 2 years in Test cricket is astonishing.
Correct. So I think if I look it up, Pat Cummins, no, he had less runs than Kohli. He had 159 runs, which is insanely good for a number eight batter.
Yeah.
Kohli had 190 runs, but Cummins had more runs than The likes of Jadeja, Washington Sundar, etc. Which is still good in my opinion. He's done a great job and well deserved man of the match performance again in MCG.
Yeah.
Now, what we need to look at is the way the bowlers were managed. Now, Pat Cummins is scoring runs. Alex Carey is, giving him support from the other end. You're looking at the entire first innings and also the second innings at the MCG. It was, uh, it was just Bumrah, 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 Bumrah. How much is Rohit going to overburden Bumrah? Because in the first innings, Bumrah alone had bowled 28.4 overs. Now, given that in a day you bowl 90 overs, and the first innings lasted 2 days, I think Australia had played 122 overs, out of which Bumrah alone has bowled 28.
Yeah.
So that's almost like 25% of your overs, which is insane amount of workload for a fast bowler. You have Akashdeep and Siraj who are supporting Bumrah with 23 and 26 overs each. But
Yeah.
their spells were much more spread apart, right? It was either Bumrah bowling with Siraj or Bumrah bowling with Akashdeep. The common point here was Bumrah. That's what caused the workload, damage, which eventually ended up hitting us back for the SCG test. Um, Now Nitish Reddy has bowled only 7 overs. Washington Sundar bowled only 15 overs. And the ball was turning at this point, so they could have done something more with it. And you look at the second innings, again, Bumrah's bowled 24 overs. Akashdeep 17, Siraj 23, Washington Sundar bowled 4, and Nitish Reddy bowled 1.
1 over from your
Still,
fast bowler.
Bumrah had hit his 20 over limit. Washington Sundar had bowled only 1 over. Nitish Reddy also had bowled 1 over. So
Yeah, like
it
my
begs the
greater
question,
question
why
is,
are you carrying six bowlers if you're not here to use them?
yeah, that's the exact question that I was going to ask. So, if you don't trust Washington Sundar, if you don't trust your spinner, lead spinner, why do you have him in the place?
Do you only believe in Jassi Bai?
Yeah,
It's, I don't know. There's so much more to think about. Okay, Livingston is apparently not Shane one. Klassen is just shit apparently.
nah, nah, that's just RCB heritage. Pick a wicket, get
Yeah,
back.
he's practicing, bro. He's practicing. It's just he's getting ready for Chinnaswamy. Get
Yeah,
one
he's
wicket,
getting those
go,
variations in.
your job is done. It's okay, bro. I'm happy. I'm happy. He got classes out for a duck, which is great. We're ready to play against SRH and Chinnaswamy. We're not getting belted for 290.
There were a lot of options. India had David Padikkal, Dhruv Jurel, Sarfraz Khan, a lot of good batters warming the bench while a shit
Yeah.
house of a batting lineup carry was played in the whole five tests.
Correct. And again, Bumrah had a fifer at the MCG, which will go completely unnoticed now because you think, okay, he set us up for a draw. We're ready to, play out the rest of day five and we're sorted that way. Cummins and sorry, not Cummins. It was Lyon and Boland who had an insanely good partnership in the second innings, right? Now, I think there's something that is very important that must be addressed here. Lyon scored 41 of 55. Boland scored 15, but he played 74 deliveries. And we have an image for you here. There is a picture of Lyon and Boland batting. And just take a look at the field set, right? So, if you could just show us the image.
Yeah.
You have Lyon and Boland batting, they're two tailenders, and you have one slip and nothing else. Just waiting for the image to pop up.
But technical difficulties managing
Difficult.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the meantime, yeah. What is this? They are 9 down for 187. You're coming to the close of play. Your new ball is only going to be available 4 overs into the next day. So at the very least, try to put some pressure on these guys. Look, Lion is batting on 11 of 27. He's not even set. Boland is still on 2. And you have one slip. what are you going to do with one slip? Like these guys are just playing it very, very, very free. Exactly. Gigi said that he's going to read the pitch and announce the team. Nothing made sense at MCG. I'm very sorry, but this is not the kind of field set you need to set for tailenders. Now, I'll show you the contrast to this. When Washington Sundar was batting, along with the likes of Akashdeep, Bumrah, and Siraj, it's a whole other dynamic whatsoever. So I think we have an image for that as well. His
Yeah.
fielders all around the batter. Like Washington Sundar is a set batter at this point. He's uh, he's not even looking to take singles because it's a tail ender on the other side.
Yeah.
But Cummins just sets a very, very, very close field. He's not looking to give Washington Sundar the single and try to get the other batter out. He's trying to get Washington Sundar out. Like, look at this. Look at this. There's a first slip, second slip, there's a gully, there's a silly point, there's a silly mid on. Sorry, there's silly mid off. There is a short mid on leg slip, short. What is that? Square.
Yeah. Pat Cummins is just giving a lot of work to our brain in remembering the names of his field positions at this point.
Mhm.
Like, let's
Yeah,
let's just call this for simplicity's sake. It's a star-shaped field setup. It's a
yeah.
typical
It's the
star.
umbrella. Sorry, it's not the umbrella. It's a star. The umbrella is only on one end. Sorry,
Yeah, this is a star-shaped
it's
field
a star.
setup.
Yeah.
So
Virat to
I
be as captain as a stopgap arrangement. Do not call it a stopgap arrangement. Please call it Mr. Fix It, which we will get
in
to in a second.
yeah. But how long has it been since we saw a star-shaped field setup from India or any other country for that fact?
Look, if you'd expect it anywhere, you would have expected India to do it during the New Zealand series. And we
Yeah,
saw what it went like over there. He had one slip and one short leg, and that was Rohit and Sarfaraz the entire time.
yeah,
Very incapable as close fielders because of their reflex times. But that's the kind of shit that we saw there. And the
yeah.
same
If a
kind of shit
captain is
repeated over here.
incapable of having an attacking field set in strong home conditions, and
You would
there's no
expect it
reason to
overseas.
expect something even closer to this in Australia.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just very, very exactly. He Satan himself to get my goal Porsche here, but he did. And I'll tell you who was not out in that innings. DSP himself.
Once again,
Mm.
Sir DSP Vivian
PG test
Richards.
has happened, and only Jaiswal cooks there. We've collapsed completely. Everything looks like it's going downhill, and Devendra Pandey decides to talk up on Twitter and put out a few things there. He says Rohit might not play the fifth test. He says there is someone portraying himself as an interim captain who portrays himself as a Mr. Fix It. Now, who is Mr. Fix It is a question that was that was looming everywhere. Now, is it Kohli, who could have been a potential captaincy option? Is it Bumrah, who could have, eventually ended up becoming the captain? Ashwin was retired at this point, so there's nothing to go on from there. But in my
Yes, are
opinion,
already old to have captaincy.
Mr. Fix It is Tala in 2016-17, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I thought like Tala is back
Yeah, I thought Tala was
to
coming
finish
back.
his quota of test matches from 2014.
Yep, but yeah, that was it from the MCG test. Now, when you're coming into SCG, you're wondering what the right words to use are. Is it rested? Is it dropped? Is it sacked? And Rohit Sharma says, no, no, I've just stepped down for the time being. I haven't retired. I haven't opted. Like it's not opted out. Also, like there's nothing that made sense from what Rohit Sharma said. And they okay, yes, we'll also talk about Siraj. I have mad respect for that guy. But yeah, they organize a whole, interview in the middle of the match. The PR stunts that happened during this SCG test was crazy. And I think let's start with the Vidya Balan tweet. That's a good place to start. I think that's the last image on this set of pictures. Yeah. So this is what happens, right? For those who don't know, Rohit Sharma's wife Ritika manages a PR and marketing firm who which also handles the social media stunts for Vidya Balan, Varun Dhawan, Farhan Akhtar, and a bunch of other
It's
celebs.
called Dharma Cornerstone Agency or something.
Exactly. Now it used to be called Cornerstone, and then once we partnered up with Dharma, you know, they had a merged name. Now this tweet comes out of nowhere. Now, as much as I had respect for Rohit Sharma as a player, I do not see the reason behind Vidya Balan, who doesn't follow Rohit Sharma. Rohit Sharma doesn't follow Vidya Balan, and suddenly out of nowhere, she puts out a tweet like this. Everybody instantly knows that this is just for you know, for the media, for the PR, and
Yeah.
nobody expected this, but you know that something has cooked in the background, something has asked Vidya Balan, something or someone has asked Vidya Balan to put up a tweet like this. And this was just the beginning because after this, ladies and gentlemen, January 5th was Twitter's greatest day in cricketing history because the kind of tweets that came out from Hitler, Einstein, Gandhi, Nehru, you can you can continue naming names like this for the entirety. Look at this. Rocky Kima, Tandani Tane Tane Tandano at Rohit Sharma 45 E is equal to rho 45 square. Now I have become Rohit Sharma, destroyer of selflessness. It just goes on and on and on. My favorite one, this was the very, very favorite one. Draft himself, Akai Kohli. I liked Siraj's tweet as well. A parody Siraj account saying, I only believe on Ritika Papi, best PR. There was, I invented zero to
This
make sure.
was a very funny one. Arya Bhatta. I invented zero just to make sure Rohit
A
Sharma
personal
gets
favorite of mine was the one from Braille. And I'm pretty sure we have the picture here as well from Braille.
Yeah, I only believe on Ritika Bobby, game changer
Game
vibe.
changer. Uh, it is so good, man. Yeah, this really should be a point in our history books at this point. Oh yeah, this was another classic. Exactly. See, a case study of how big a failure this PR stunt was, because this will go down in history as one of the greatest cricketing days that Twitter has ever seen, and it has nothing to do with cricket. It was so good. But yeah, they organized, like, this wasn't even the start of it. Star Sports organized like a mid-match interview for Rohit Sharma. Like, look, you had Ashwin who didn't play the first test. Jadeja was dropped in the first test and the second as well. Nobody went and interviewed Ashwin Jadeja, even Rahane Pujara. None of these guys. Gill was dropped. No one interviewed Gill when he was dropped. So that begs the question: why was Rohit Sharma interviewed if there was no real drama behind it in the first place, right? If there was nothing to be worried about, why are we creating a big deal out of it? Why did Rohit Sharma agree to do an interview,
It's
right?
because Rohit Sharma is selfless. Other players are not selfless. You need to get that point straight. Only
Very good.
selfless people who play with courage for first six balls get to be interviewed on Star Sports.
Indeed. So it's a chance to stay alive in the series. Rohit Sharma has opted out, Bumrah is skipper, but I don't know if you guys remember, but we had spoken about workload management for Australian bowlers in terms of how the scheduling was done, right? Jadeja doubtful for CT selection.
Good.
I'm so down for that. That's perfect.
I'm so
Akshar
happy.
Patel, it's time. Let us cook. Bapu is coming. We're winning the Champions Trophy 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first in BBC.
Yeah.
Big Brain Cricket said it first. We are winning Champions Trophy 2025. Our best batter is going to be Yashasvi Jaiswal because one of the top order players is going to be dropped. I'm not going to say who. Are they going to be dropped, rested, opted out, or sacked? I will not say what I meant.
Even
Okay.
we are like Devendra Pandey. We
Yeah,
don't say anything straight.
indeed. But yeah, okay. Let's actually get to the real cricket that happened over here. Bumrah kicked it off with 2 wickets. Siraj got contest after. Okay, so we batted first, and there was a collapse that I don't want to talk about. It was just the same old story again. But yeah, so Bumrah at 120 for 5 with the Aussies um, still somewhat in the game, trailing by close to 60 runs. Bumrah walks off the field with back issues. We see that he goes out for scans. He's taken to the hospital. Now, Virat Kohli takes over as captain. And for the first 4 to 5 overs, there's a little bit of confusion because you can see that there's visible imbalance because of Bumrah walking away.
Yeah.
But in a matter of seconds, everything seemed insanely sorted out with Kohli taking over as skipper because Siraj Prasidh and Nitish Reddy suddenly turn into freaking Marshall Garner and
Marshall
Robert.
Gardner. Oh,
They
that
turn
was,
into noted West Indies
yeah, that was a
bowling.
pretty good sight to watch, indeed.
It was a perfect display of bowling. We ended up with a lead of 4 runs, I think. And
Yeah.
the only highlight of the second innings, in my opinion, is that vintage Rishabh Pant innings. Because we saw what happened in the beginning, right? We saw how Sunil Gavaskar called out Rishabh Pant for playing the kind of shots that he does, his natural game. In my opinion, Gavaskar was right. He's Okay, so what Rishabh Pant does is he has two fielders at that specific location. He could have played the ball straight ahead where there were no fielders in the deep, but he still chooses to hit it behind the keeper, and that was what Gavaskar was pissed off about.
Yeah.
So I can see Gavaskar has all the right to be pissed off because the tournament is literally named after him. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Rishabh Pant, his natural game is an attacking game. So what we saw in the first innings was a very closed pace 40 from Pant. It was really not his natural game. We saw him struggling. He was unable to defend properly, but he still got to 40, which, in my opinion, is a respectful score.
Yeah.
Uh, in the second innings, he said, "You know what? Fuck it, I'm Rishabh Pant." So his 40 came of 90 something balls in the first innings. In the second innings, it came up 20 balls.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
think Kohli just gave him the freedom. Like he totally
yeah,
unlocked Rishabh Pant.
Rishabh
Like you
Pant.
play your game. That's what
Yeah,
you're good at.
yeah. Now, at this point, everyone knew that Bumrah was not in the position to come back and bowl. So I think we knew that there was no hopes for wrapping the game up. There was no hope for an all-out. Draw was out of the question anyway because there were 2 extra days left. It was either an Australia win or an India win. And without Bumrah, it was very difficult for an Indian win. So I still really have respect for what Siraj Prasid and Reddy did in the second innings as well. The 4 wickets that they took really gave us some hope, but without Bumrah, it was eventually going to end up with our fast bowlers tiring out after their first spell. And we didn't
Well,
have
India
anyone.
could have actually cemented their spot during the second innings, but I didn't understand the strategy of what they came into bat. They're just trying to hit everything. I think they were scared of Sydney wicket turning into a graveyard or something from the past, but something was acting upon their minds, and they were in some hurry to finish this test match off.
Indeed.
But second innings, during the second innings, the pitch was looking to be eased out, and It was looking very good to bat on. That's
Day
what all.
three, day three specifically was a perfect day to bat.
Yeah. It was the Sydney test was very, very similar and contrasting to the Perth test.
Fair enough, correct. I agree.
Uh, I have never seen Sydney wicket so green in my years of watching cricket.
Yeah.
It had a lush green covering, and did India miss a chance with the toss? Pretty late to discuss it now, but
Yeah, look, it had a few overcast conditions there, but you don't really know because again in the second innings when Australia batted, it turned out to be difficult for them as well. Like the pitch didn't change much for them. So in any case, we would have ended up with a very similar score. What made the difference is how all those conditions disappeared by day three. And on day three, you would expect your Indian side to be batting the entire day, and that's what didn't happen for us. So day three and day four made it very easy for Australia to wrap the game up. But
yeah,
yeah, at the end of the day, there's not much you can do with a target under 200. I think no target of 200 plus has ever been chased in the fourth innings at Sydney in 40 years, if I'm not wrong.
yeah,
So with four bowlers, with a bowler start, you would expect to score 200 and set a target like that for them. So this whole 160 target and all is not going to be enough for us in any case.
yeah,
So let's get to the actual problem that we saw after the Perth test. It's Virat Kohli's whole outside edge problem, right? Everyone has been asking, is it a technical thing? Is it a mental thing? Or is it something else? I'd say it's a little bit of everything. There is a huge mental aspect to it, absolutely, because he has actually let this get to his head. I have not seen Virat Kohli worry about his outside off problem this much in a long time, to a level where he goes to the net and asks Prasid and Harshit Rana to bowl in that fourth, fifth stump line specifically so that he can leave it. He's putting in efforts. Okay, he's putting in a lot of hard work, but I'd say there is one thing that he made a change in the last test. His bat was facing somewhat towards second or third slip, which became much straighter in the final test.
mhm,
Second thing that he did was his trigger movement. Again, there's one thing that's really wrong with his trigger movement in comparison to what it was like in 2018. Um, in 2018, he okay. So there are two things that he did in 2018. Okay, one is he was leaving many more balls outside, and whatever was coming into him, he was able to play it easier because I think there was a video by Cricket by JB where he explained that there is a 3 point contact now when compared to a 2 point contact earlier.
yeah,
I'd like to reiterate on that. There used to be a 3 point contact earlier as well, but that used to happen in very specific scenarios. Right? He wasn't always making 3 point contacts. He wasn't. Um, he used to make his 2 point contacts when he was playing the ball on the off stump, when the ball was coming into him. Uh, so the primary issue, in my opinion, with what Virat Kohli is facing technically is that with his 3 point contact that's happening now, he's not landing his front foot completely, right? He is, I don't know how to show this to you, but it's on his toe. He's feeling around for the length of the ball. He's not committed to anything. He's waiting for the ball to come to him. He's not certain about what length to play on, which is why he's facing difficulties in terms of his front foot moving towards the ball. If you saw what he did in Perth, he was leaving a little better and he was timing the ball better also because it was better conditions to bat on. I think Perth's day three, day four condition was probably the best we've seen throughout the series.
to
So
bat. Yeah,
no doubt there, but his front foot is like tippy toeing while he's moving, when he's making his trigger movement, and that is primarily what's giving him a few fraction of a second lesser than what he would have initially had. Aside from that, he's also aging. So what he would have had at the age of 28, 29 is not what he'd have now. So his
Yeah,
reaction would have differed.
that's a very important point with aging. The reflex slows down, but you have put down like the technical aspect very beautifully here. But I would like to add on a few points here.
Yeah,
So there's nothing much wrong with Kohli's technical aspect here. The same
right.
balls, the same shots, uh, played in home conditions would have been like brilliant cover drives. Is the problem with the late movement that was causing in this tour
Exactly.
that made him nick all the fifth stump balls, but the same deliveries at home would have
Yeah,
gone to four. So
right.
not that's something not a really a big issue, but my whole big issue is why not leave? Where did that beautiful leave
It's
from 2018 go?
correct. That's the primary issue, right? He's not staying patient. I think what Jimmy Anderson had exposed in 2014 is what has caused him to struggle again now. But here's something to ponder over. He struggled with the outside off line in 2014, came to Australia and had a banger series. Now he's struggling in Australia with the outside off region in 2025. Does that mean he's going to go to England and have a banger series? Because if you've noticed in the last test, his bat has become much straighter, and that technique is actually going to help him a little bit more. In yeah, so his series in England is going to probably be a little bit better for him with that technique if his bat is straight pointing towards first slip instead of third slip, because it's going to give him a little bit more of a counter to the swinging conditions there.
Yeah, I think this is all a part and parcel of his slight change in his stance that he
Yeah,
made earlier in 2024.
correct.
Uh, Midway through 2024 IPL, Kohli made a very small change in his stance that helped him open wide range of shots in that cow corner and
Correct.
that mid wicket region. And he tried to continue with the same stance even in World Cup, and that didn't end up well.
Correct.
Uh,
Because very different conditions, right? The
Very
IPL
different.
was much hotter, and the World Cup was much more of it required Kohli to play his old game rather than his new game, and we saw that in the finals. That was pretty
Yeah,
evident.
and it's also something to do with the approach of this current Indian team. They're trying to play very aggressive cricket in Test
Yeah.
cricket.
I'm telling
They
you,
want
last
to,
was
even
overrated.
though they would like to play dot ball, hit the ball and play dot ball is the concept.
Exactly.
From what we have seen,
Mm.
there
So
have
the
been very
very
few
essence
balls
of
that have
testing
been
is to play
intercepted.
time.
Sorry.
The very essence of Test cricket is to play time, and I think there is no better example than that when than this one. What we saw with Lyon and Boland in MCG. If Lyon and Boland had gotten out within the previous day itself, if they hadn't made it to the final day, then India wouldn't have tried to play for a draw. The fact that they played for a draw is what caused the downfall, right? They were in two minds about whether they need to attack or defend. So the essence of Test cricket is not just about scoring runs and taking wickets, it's also about playing time. Because when you have a restriction on the amount of time left in the game for you, a lot of other factors start playing on your mind. And that is something that we can't forget when we're playing Test cricket. Now, another thing with Kohli's technique is that I've not seen him play a cut shot in so long.
It's gone.
What happened to the? He used to play square drives and square cuts. He used to open the face of his
It's
bat when
gone.
he
It's
used to
gone.
on the upside. So this new technique where he's opened up his stance a little bit more towards mid wicket is now going to stop him from playing a cut shot in that direction, and that is what is also adding on to his outside off issues.
That's the cost of his change in stance. I'm happy with it because it's working in IPL.
Yeah, why the hell not?
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, let's also talk about just Jasprit Bumrah in general. 32 wickets, the joint highest by an Indian bowler in a test series. Top quality performance and well deserved player of the series, in my opinion.
yeah. Uh, this is like 28. What 2018 was to peak Kohli during a season of uh,
The worst
a
batting.
season
Yeah,
dominated by bowlers.
yeah,
2018 was a season where batsmen around the world struggled to average even 30s. Kohli averaged
exactly,
50s. It's
exactly.
that kind of series for Jasprit Bumrah. He was clearly just the one man show
Yeah,
everywhere, every innings, every day, every session. The man used to turn up, give his full blow to the Aussies.
yeah.
Massive respect to Jasprit Bumrah. And
But again, Rohit over bowling Bumrah is going to cost us. As we saw in the final
poor
test.
man, that's
Yeah.
just poor management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the big question is it a stress fracture or is it a back spasm? Because if it's a stress fracture and it's a bone issue, it's going to take 2 to 3 months to heal. If it is a back spasm, he'll be fine in a couple of weeks. If it is a bone issue, he's out for the Champions Trophy. And we're
Hmm.
cooked.
That we wait for Dr. Rohit Sharma to conclude.
Hmm. So without Bumrah, and again, we don't know what Shami's fitness scene is like. Although he's bowling 10 overs fully at Vijay Hazare Trophy, I think he should be good enough to make it back to the side for the Champions Trophy. Um, I think Bumrah might be in trouble though.
Yeah.
Let's see. But at the same time, we're looking at Bumrah delivering an extraordinary performance. There was someone who had an equally as extraordinary performance, and that was Scott Boland. Okay. Bumrah had in 5 games 32 wickets, a strike rate of, I think, 28. And Boland, on the other hand, in 3 games had 21 wickets and a strike rate of 29. Bumrah bowled 151 overs, Boland bowled 101 overs. Both of them averaged 13. So Boland, in a way, in 2 games lesser, has still delivered along the same lines as Bumrah, which is around 11 wickets lesser because he's played 2 games lesser.
Yeah.
Insane
Scott
stats.
Boland is a man of discipline, so he just bowled all day long at one
Yeah,
spot. He just let the ball do its work.
exactly.
Uh, it's just poor batting from India, then deadly bowling from Boland. It was not something very deadly or something to throw away your wickets, but
Correct.
uh, a batsman clearly gifted wickets to Boland because I don't think so. They faced any in-swinging deliveries in the nets or something. So they
Yeah,
look clueless to Boland.
correct. And again, one person who really struggled with deliveries like that, aside from Kohli, was also Shubman Gill. Shubman Gill in overseas conditions has really not impressed since the last BGT. So after his Gabba knock, he's failed largely in pretty much every overseas tour that we've had, South Africa included. I think West Indies also wasn't that great for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, things to look at for Gill in
That
terms of overseas.
home tour in Indians home tour like to India, nothing was good for Gill in Test cricket.
Correct. So yeah, there's a lot to look at for Gill as well because you're looking at Gill as a future captaincy option, and if he's not performing, he's not in the side, and that's going to cause problems. Again, Bumrah is of course going to be a primary option, but I'd say if there was a vice captain, it would have to be between Pant and Gill. So
Yeah.
he needs to be ready for the responsibility. He needs to start paying more attention within the leadership group, and yeah, that's something.
Forget the leadership. His place is not even cemented in all three formats at this point.
Exactly, that's the issue. Like Shubman Gill should have been at a much higher level by now, given his performances in the IPL and in domestic scenarios. But while we're on the topic of Bumrah as well, now let's look at that little face-off with Constance, right? We were also discussing the field set that Rohit Sharma had for uh, the tailenders. Let's look at the field set that Bumrah had for Constance and Khawaja early on in the first few overs with the new ball itself. We have an image for that as well. There is, I think we had 4 balls left to the close of play,
Yeah.
and Khawaja started wasting some time, and Bumrah was not happy with it. Constance somehow got himself into the fight, and Bumrah was really pissed off, and they got Khawaja's wicket. So what you see in this frame is what you expected from Rohit Sharma in the beginning of the series. And this is what he failed to do. He failed to put fielders around the batters and put actual pressure on them. Free singles is not something that Test cricket is good for. I'm telling you, Rohit Sharma is a brilliant white ball captain, but the same white ball strategy does not work out with the red ball as well. If you look at this frame, there are 11 human beings in this frame. Two batters, one umpire, and the other 9 are all Indian players. Okay, that goes to show the kind of field set that they had for Kansas and Kawaja. Real pressure was being put on top of them, and this is what they failed to do in all the other tests prior to this.
Yeah. A very beautiful image that will go down in the books of history for many, many years to come. Uh, this spell will never be forgotten. Yeah.
Absolutely. Kawaja was dismissed, and Kansas got the bashing for it.
Yeah. A wise KL Rahul once said, "You come to
But
one of
one of
us,"
our guys, all 11 of us will come right back at you.
and the image speaks a thousand words
For
of
itself,
what
exactly.
KL Rahul said.
Absolutely. But that was one of the highlights of what it used to be like under Kohli's captaincy, right? So I have some actual genuine hopes for what Bumrah can potentially be as a captain, even though his record so far in the 3 games that he's captained has not been that great. One was in England, one win over here in Perth, and a loss over here in Sydney. So there is a lot that has to be done, but I think he will do a much better job than what Rohit Sharma has done for us in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
So
The
yeah,
important question:
yeah,
has Rohit retired?
he has opted out of Test cricket.
Like
Look,
we'll get back to this question after a few weeks or months to come when some things develop from Gigi and his backroom. At this
indeed,
point in time, even Gigi and his backroom staff have not cemented their place in Indian cricket team,
exactly.
and there are high chances of a revamp in the backroom. And we shall wait and watch and let the BCCI cook this time while we wait for the squad announcement for Champions Trophy, which is around the corner. Also for
Exactly.
the England
The
series to
series,
hope.
yeah.
In
So
the
about the
meantime,
Indian series, I think it would have been very nice if we qualified for the WTC finals. But you know what? As RCB fans, I am very happy that we don't have to worry about that
yeah,
calculator headache anymore. Because now the only way it's happening is if Australia get 20 penalty points for over rates, which is very unlikely, especially in Sri Lanka, where the games are going to end in 3, 4 days anyway.
yeah, it's done. Australia versus South Africa and Lord's
Yeah,
absolute cinema, and India won't get the blame. Not India. IPL won't get the blame this time because India could have lost at a WTC final, and
exactly.
it's a very good time to enjoy the best format of this game, which
Yeah.
will be back on March 14th. Until then, enjoy SA20, support for your players who play for your franchise.
Yeah. DK Papa.
Red ball cricket is done for at least 6 months now.
Exactly. Now, the next big headache would probably be the Champions Trophy because our record of tournaments in Dubai really hasn't been that great.
Nah, this tournament doesn't matter on any front. It's a very irrelevant format. I don't know why it's still alive. I really hope the infrastructure is bad and the tournament gets cancelled. It
No, so
doesn't
this is
matter
the thing. This is the thing,
when
right?
you're playing
It
three
is
teams.
bad. I've seen a few, reports from a bunch of news channels and also a few images from the stadium. The chairs aren't even where the chairs are supposed to be. They're okay. So, like, you know how these amphitheater steps are in most places. On those steps, they put these curved green color thingies, which are supposed to be chairs apparently, and some of those things are upside down. None of the stadiums are actually ready for the Champions Trophy yet. Rawalpindi is still like being prepared. I don't know what they're trying to do here, but luckily for them, Dubai is still an option, and moving the Champions Trophy out of Pakistan is going to be the primary point of focus for our man sitting at the top of ICC, Jay Shah himself.
The primary point should be to scrap this Champions Trophy. I don't see any point
Just
having the
don't let Pakistan host tournaments, bro. Those guys, there's a terrible organizationally.
yeah. What kind of tournament do you like? Play only three teams to go on to the knockouts and call it a Champions Trophy.
Yeah,
It absolutely doesn't make sense. Cricket being on the global front and many countries playing cricket now, the Cricket World Cup itself had very few teams, and you would expect more teams to play World Cup because it's World Cup.
yeah. It's
But
not.
you
It's
have,
not eight top nations cup.
yeah, like it would be more dynamic and fun, like football, like if you include many other countries over there,
Yeah,
like you would have an underdog beating an experienced team. So it opens a whole lot of opportunity and entertainment for the sport.
yeah.
But at the current time, Champions Trophy is not my cup of tea, so I'm not interested for this tournament. I'll be
Very,
waiting.
very direct statement from us. Remove Champions Trophy. Bring back CLT20.
Yeah, that's the Champions League that we need,
Exactly.
and not the
Because
Champions.
that actually involves multiple teams from across the world. You have people from, like, imagine how well the CLT20 could cook now because you would have the SA20 teams, you would have the IPL teams, the Caribbean Premier League teams, probably the BBL teams as well, and even
BBL, BPL,
ANLC.
you
Yeah.
name the league, all the
If
leagues
you
in
really
the
want
world
to
are,
include PSL can come there and show us what their aukat is like
yeah.
because it's about time that they realize that they're not that great. But there's genuine excitement if CLT20 comes back. And, I'm all for it. I know it's not happening anytime soon because
Yeah,
logistically it's a lot of
no
work.
better time to bring back CLT20. All the leagues around the world are
Yeah,
running up and running in the best possible way. The quality
exactly.
is good and up to that mark. And if there is a chance of CLT20 coming back, it is so over for ICC at this point.
Yeah.
Uh, See what this Champions Trophy or even the T20 World Cup will be irrelevant once CLT20 is back. It will be
Honestly,
just
I think that's the way to
CLT20
go
and
forward
cricket.
for cricket. Yeah. That's the way to go forward, right? Organize more leagues across the world. Um, just have World Cups once every 4 years, once every 2 years. It doesn't matter. It's a very football kind of
Yep.
setup. You can do major bilaterals every now and then, but like, what's the point of bilaterals anymore, right?
Yeah, cricket has reached its saturated point. What's the point of bilaterals? What's the even point of playing 50 over format? Just have it
There's
for the World Cup so that it
exactly there's,
creates some
there's
sort of
so much
demand.
cricket. There's so much cricket happening. There's so much workload on the players that they're getting to a point where they play two separate teams for two separate formats.
Yeah,
And it's not even because of the skill level, it's only because of workload management.
yeah.
So there's way too much cricket happening, which for us is a good thing because we'll come sit about it and yap all day long anyway. But from the player's point of view, there's so much more that can be done to make their lives a little bit better, a little easier.
Yeah, it's 11 and there's one person still watching, and
Yeah.
he's my favorite.
What jobless auntie.
Yeah,
All
YouTube
right.
channel, love you all. Yeah, we love you
Anyway,
too.
take some
Uh,
rest. Watch the SA 20 and sleep well.
Sleep well.
Will
Let's
Jackson Will Jackson's opening with Ramanullah Gurbaaz. Go, 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 everyone, go. Start watching. Bye bye.
oh, wake me up when Liam Livingston comes to bat. And until then, it's good night and Shubharatri to all of you.
Shukran.
Uh, yeah, it's a very beautiful weekend. Go out there, have fun.
Have fun.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys.